Hello everyone, my name is Samir Abu Surdana. I will be teaching you Reading Comprehension, Q Skills for Success, Level 4, Unit 2. Our topic is what makes you wanna buy something. Now here are some discussion questions to consider during the reading. For example, what sorts of things do you like to shop for? What do you not enjoy shopping for? Now possible answers could include, for example, I like to shop for clothes, or I don't like to shop for electronics. The second question is, how does the way something appears influence your decision to buy it? I buy things based on how they look, if that's what you do. For example, I don't buy clothes in colors that I don't like. And the third discussion question is, after looking at the following photo, would you buy something from the shop? If yes, why? If no, why not? A possible answer, yes, I would want to buy something from the shop. The bright colors and range of products are inviting. Now, before we move on to the reading section, in reading 1, so much dead space, let's take a look at the following vocabulary and locate them during the reading. Allude to, concept, distinguish, evolve, focus on, individual, liberate, pedestrian, priority, promote, sophisticated, and urban. Now after the reading, we'll take a look at the definitions of the mentioned vocabulary in the vocabulary exercise. Moving on to the reading, so much dead space, creating store windows alive with promise. In paragraph 1, the writer says, I'm a nerd American researcher. No one has ever thought of me as fashionable, sophisticated. What I do know about the shop and shopping, I've always been good at watching people because I grew up with a terrible stutter. He stutters when he speaks and was not comfortable talking. I learned to observe as a way of understanding social rules. I have turned this coping mechanism, you can see the definition below, into a profession. Now if we move on to paragraph 2, as I stroll around, I look closely at store windows, like in this photo, since they are an essential part of the shopping experience. In his delightful book, Made in America, Bill Bryson, the writer, writes about the history of stores and shopping in America. He describes the big store windows that were an important feature of most retail stores in the past century. When I look out my office window in New York City, I see many of those windows. They remain the same today as they were some 120 years ago. But a century ago, people took the time to stop and look into store windows. I imagine them walking along slowly, stopping at a tall window and peering or looking through the glass to see the latest fashions and newest products. Today, strolling window shopping pedestrians are an old-fashioned concept. Most people look straight ahead and walk with a quick, determined guide. So they don't look at the store windows while they walk. Pedestrians are people on the side of the road. In paragraph 4, throughout modern times, different factors have changed the way pedestrians walk in busy urban areas. One of the most significant of these factors is traffic lights. William H. White, the American author and urbanist, wrote about the patterns and movement of pedestrians on the sidewalk. He observed that because traffic lights are timed for the speed of cars, people pile up, so there get many people on the side of the street, on street corners, as they wait for the light to change. When the light changes, that pile, a lot of people, will cross and stay crowded together as they continue down the street behind them. There will be a gap of fewer people, but then another crowd from when the traffic light changes again. Now, this creates a pattern of crowds and gaps on urban shopping streets. So, think about how individuals behave when walking in these crowds of people. Some people will speed up to get out of the crowd, and then the entire group will begin to walk more quickly. This behavior affects how people view the store windows that they pass by. Even if you wanted to slow down or stop to look in a window, you couldn't. You have to keep walking quickly so that you won't be in the way of other people because they are moving in crowds. That's why window displays need to instantly grab attention. But money don't take the drugstore in my neighborhood, for example. The windows are filled with boxes of bleach and detergent, packages of razors and soap, so nothing to catch the eye, and whatever else can be squeezed into the space. So with the window so crowded, it is impossible to focus on any single product. Often it is difficult to even see clearly what is really being promoted. Maybe in 1928 it was important for a store to advertise the large selection of products offered. Maybe then shoppers had the time to really take a look at a window and examine the display. But these days retailers are lucky if pedestrians just take a small look at their store windows. Now, the way our eyes and brain handle information has become more sophisticated. Thanks to television and computers, our ability to process images is faster now. We no longer need letter by letter, but rather in groups of words. So we don't read anymore letter by letter, we read in groups of words. TV programs have evolved so that we see the stories of years or even lifetimes in just a few hours. A billboard can tell a more sophisticated joke today than it could 20 years ago. A 15-second commercial can allude to a full story. Likewise, when it comes to window displays, shoppers today can understand information more quickly. Store windows today must be quick reads. They must be simple enough so that the products can be clearly identified, and they must be creative enough to catch the busy pedestrian's eyes. Just a quick look at a store window could answer many questions for savvy shoppers, especially since today's retail market is so competitive. If done right, windows can function as an important brand identity tool. So, if done right, windows can function as an important brand and identity tool. As retailers, you must know who your customers are, and you must create windows that they will understand. For instance, Kiehl's, which sells all natural bath and body products, uses its windows as a place for highlighting social issues, which fits with the priorities of its customers. My favorite windows are in France. A man who runs his family's boutique of the main square in Strasbourg takes enormous pleasure in his windows. What he puts on his windows is jokes. Some are related to history. Sometimes his windows make me chuckle, laugh a little. The clothes are part of a larger story. His store always distinguishes itself from the other shops on the crowded square because his windows always make an impression. As busy as I might be as I walk down the street, his windows make me stop. Even more, they almost always tempt me to come inside the shop and take a good look around. So, what can stores do with their dead space, meaning on their windows? How can windows come alive? To modern retailers, I propose the following. Let's liberate our design teams. Stop filling windows with products. Tell a story maybe. Make us laugh. Make us think. Learn from advertisers like Calvin Klein or Benetton, who think outside the box with ads that catch our attention and motivate a response. Windows can be like literature. It's okay if not everybody understands the story you're telling, what is important is that the target customer gets it and stops to look. Now, moving on to the vocabulary. Here are some words and phrases from reading 1. Read these sentences and circle the answer that best matches the meaning. 1. On a typical weekday, the sidewalks are filled with pedestrians who are window shopping or looking for a place to stop and eat. As you can see, pedestrians are people walking. A. 2. His concept for the advertisement was poorly thought out, so the design teams chose another. As you can see, it's idea. Concept means idea. 3. Unlike quiet streets in rural areas, the crowded streets in urban areas are often filled with people. Urban areas are cities, not countries. 4. Each individual in the survey was a professional designer. Individual is a single person. B. A single person. 5. In a crowded store, it is easy to get overwhelmed and not be able to focus on what you like. Focus, to concentrate. 6. Because the business promoted its product successfully on the internet, they sold well. Promoted is advertised. 7. After a year of study abroad, I had a more sophisticated view of the world. Sophisticated is able to understand complicated ideas. 8. Her poetry has evolved over the years because she has gained more confidence and developed her own style. Evolved means be changed from an earlier form. 9. She alluded to her work experience when she said, I've been very busy the past few years. Alluded. A. Spoke indirectly about. 10. I had a lot to do and not much time, so I decided what my priorities were and I did those things first. Priorities. A. The most important things. 11. The store distinguishes itself from its competitors by having lower prices. Distinguishes. B. Differs. 12. Knowledge can liberate people and give them independence, which is B. Liberate, to set free. Liberate, to set free. Moving on. Now let's answer the following questions in exercise D. What is the topic of the reading? So if you go back and look at the topic is about store windows and the dead space on those windows. 2. What is the controlling idea? The controlling idea is that attractive windows make people look at them and maybe enter the store and buy something, which is the main idea, of course. Moving on, in exercise E, choose the answer that best completes each statement. 1. The author is a researcher who B. observes how people shop. He observes by looking at them how people shop. 2. The main reason that the article describes urban pedestrians is to A. explain why store windows must be both simple and creative. 3. The author thinks store windows should show something that catches our attention, something that catches the eye. 4. The idea of dead space refers to B. store windows that don't attract attention. 5. The author's intended audience is C. store owners, people who own stores. Now more questions in exercise F. Question 1. How is pedestrian behavior different now than in the last century? Now in the last century, pedestrians strolled and took the time to look in store windows. But now most people walk quickly and look straight ahead, meaning they don't look at store windows anymore. 2. What happens on sidewalks when people have to stop and wait for traffic lights to change? A pile, which means a large group of people, a pile of people forms and stays crowded together after they cross. Behind them is a gap of fewer people. 3. What is the problem with the drugstore windows in the author's neighborhood? The problem is that these stores are crowded with many products, so it's difficult to focus on any product clearly. 4. What is one example the author uses to show how our ability to process images is faster now? One of the following: 1. People reading groups of words, not letter by letter. Or 2. Movies show the story of a lifetime in just a few hours. Or 3. A commercial can tell a full story. You can use any of these examples. 5. What does the author mean when he says that store windows must be quick reads? He means that they must be simple enough so that the products can be clearly identified, and they must be creative enough to catch someone's eye. Last question. What does the author like about his favorite store window? Give 2 examples. Windows that tells jokes. Some are related to history. Some make him laugh. Moving on, exercise G. What you need to do here is the following. The article refers to the work and research of others. Find the names of 2 authors and 3 stores in the reading and by completing the following chart. Now we have Bill Bryson. Bill Bryson is an author. He wrote Made in America, and the reason to include is History of Store Windows. The second name is William H. White. He is an author and an urbanist, and the writer included him. The reason to include him in the reading was patterns of pedestrians on sidewalks. The third name is Kyles. He is store selling all natural bath and body products, and the writer included him. Created windows its customers understand, so he mentioned him as an example. Last name is Calvin Klein and Benetton. They are store owners and advertisers, and the author included them as an example to think outside the box, ads that catch our attention. More questions in exercise H. According to Paco, underline what are 7 things store windows should be and do. Now, they should be simple, be creative, catch a pedestrian's eye. They should be a brand tool for stores, tell a story, and make us think. The second question, what is one thing a store window should not be or do? Advertise a store's selection of products. Attract everyone to the product, or be complex. Moving on. Now in the reading skill, highlighting and annotating when reading an article or an essay. Now the purpose of highlighting and annotating is to identify important ideas in a text. Both of these techniques will allow you to quickly find the information later without having to reread the text, to read it again. Now highlighting, always decide the purpose of your highlighting before you begin. Then highlight, underline, or circle information in a text, such as the main idea or topic of a paragraph, keywords, details, or examples, phrases that summarize the information. Now you can use different colors, highlighter pens, for different types of information. Next we have annotating. Annotating is writing directly on the page of a text, like writing notes or summarizing a paragraph. It's a useful way to identify and mark important information. First, read the paragraph and decide what is important. Then write brief notes in the margin. You may use abbreviations such as T for thesis, MI for main idea, S for summary, EX, X for example, R for reason, and a question mark for a question. Now the exercise here, read the paragraph from reading 1 and look at the highlighting and annotations that then answer the questions below. Now let's move directly to the questions since we already read the paragraph. In question 1, what does the information highlighted in yellow show? The information is our ability to process images is faster, and what it shows is the main idea of the paragraph. As you can see, it's highlighted in a different color. What does the information highlighted in pink show? Now in pink, like TV programs, see the stores of years, billboards, still a more sophisticated joke. These are all examples that show how we process information faster. Last question, what purpose do the two annotations have? Now the two annotations written in blue, S, people understand info faster now, S, which stands for summary, and R, which stands for reason, TV and computers. So it's to give a summary and a reason. Now here in the next paragraph, what you need to do is highlight and annotate a paragraph from reading 1 and follow these steps, then compare your notes with a partner. Here is the example. The answer of course will vary from a student to another. And possible annotations could be S, what makes a good window, which stands for summary. You can, for instance, highlight the first sentence, which is the main idea. Store windows today must be quick reads. And you can highlight in a different colors the examples. How can they be quick reads? Like products can be clearly identified to catch the busy pedestrian's eye, who is the core market, and fit their personal style, etc. Now moving on to reading 2. Now on stage, your home. Let's take a look at the vocabulary to locate in the reading. We have feature, in theory, investment, mentally, minimize, negative, neutral, potential, remove, residence, tend, and visualize. Now on stage, Your Home by Douglas Nunn. Now, Tina Miller is busy at work in the kitchen of her New Jersey condominium. Condominium is an apartment owned by the resident. Wrapping dishes in paper just outside several large boxes stand near the front door. And in the living room, Miller's two sons are packing video games. We've been here for almost 10 years, which means they are packing and preparing to sell the apartment and move. 2 months ago, Tina's husband, Evan, accepted a job in another state, and now the family is getting ready to move. There is a lot of work to do, but the hardest part seems to be selling this condo, the apartment. Now, in theory, the Miller's home should have sold quickly. It is in a modern building. These are the good features of the home. On a quiet street, shops and restaurants are within walking distance. The couple has even reduced the sale price by $10,000. Connie Tran, the real estate agent working with the Millers, believes she knows what the problem is. This is a nice condo, the rooms are large and there is a lot of light. But the feel of the place is all wrong. The living room is full of boxes, the kitchen and bathroom are cluttered, the paint on the walls is too dark, it doesn't make a great first impression on potential buyers. Now here, the reasons why the condo hasn't been sold yet. But to help sell their condo, Tran has suggested that the Millers hire someone to stage it or to decorate it. What exactly does this mean? Now, the main goal professional stagers would say is to prepare a house to sell by making it as attractive as possible. For most people, this simply involves fixing things that are broken or cleaning a place thoroughly. But even though these things are important, real estate agent Elizabeth Weinrop says that staging goes beyond decorating and cleaning, which is more. Staging makes your house look bigger, brighter, cleaner, warmer, and best of all, it makes home buyers want to buy it. Now, the Millers have agreed to have their home staged, so what will a professional home stager suggest doing to help sell their condo? Now, here are possible suggestions. 1. Minimize the clutter. The Miller family has lived in their home for 10 years, and though they are preparing to move, many of the rooms are still full of furniture, books, electronics, and other things that people collect over time. These things can make the place look crowded and smaller than it is. The second suggestion is to store personal items. The Millers also have to be aware of the small stuff, like photos and magazines in the living room, a child's drawings on the refrigerator, and slippers in the bathroom. Not only do these things make a condo appear more cluttered, they also make it look like it's the Miller's home. And that's a problem. A buyer doesn't want to tour the place and see someone else's stuff. Professional home stager Bob Schultz advises sellers to clear all unnecessary objects throughout the house. The third suggestion is to organize what's left. Once each room is down to a few essential items, a professional stager will make sure these things are positioned in an attractive way that makes the room look good. Sandra, the host of a popular TV show about selling houses, offers these advices. First of all, feature only a few pieces of furniture in each room. Second, bedrooms are difficult to stage because they are in daily use. So to make these rooms appear spacious or bigger and neat, you can use white sheets on the bed and clear everything of nightshades. The third suggestion, open the drapes or remove them completely, which makes the room lighter and brighter. And these rooms give the impression of a happy place, and everyone wants to move into a happy place. Now the fourth suggestion is to repaint if necessary. 4 years ago, the Millers painted the walls in the living room a warm reddish color. They love it, but a potential home buyer might not love it for a couple of reasons. The color was a personal choice made by the Millers, which makes the condo still seem as if it is theirs. Dark colors can also make a room appear smaller, so repainting the walls with a lighter, more neutral color will make the room look more spacious. What if the Millers don't sell the condo before they move? Should they still have it staged if it's empty? Now, Svita of Home Staging Montreal and many other real estate professionals say yes. Melchuk, for example, notes on her website that most people have a hard time imagining a space as a potential home if it contains no furniture. So the rooms will look too big or too small, and may invite buyers to notice the negatives or problems, such as a scratch on the floor or an old window. For these reasons, many real estate agents will recommend furnishing some of the main rooms in a vacant home. In some cases, staging a home can cost as much as $4,000, which has many sellers wondering if it's worth it. Bob Schwartz, who has staged thousands of residences, believes it is. It's worth the price. According to her, the average home can take up to 212 days to sell, while a professional staged one usually just takes 37, for example. So, to sum up, ultimately staging seems to be a good investment, especially if an owner is having difficulty selling a home. The Millers agree with that. I hardly recognize this space anymore, laughs Tina. It looks wonderful, like something you'd see in a magazine. And last week we had 2 offers to buy. The trouble is, I like it here so much now that I don't want to move. Now moving on to the vocabulary exercise. Again, sentence 4. We really like the apartment. The only negative is that it doesn't come with parking. Sentence 5. They own a home in the country, but their primary residence is in London. 6. Most people in this city tend to live in apartments. Only a few live in large houses. Sentence 7. One way to minimize noise in the apartment is to put rugs on the floors, then it will be quieter. 8. I can think of 2 potential ways to use this room as an office or as an extra bedroom. 9. This month's House magazine is going to feature photos of famous people's home. 10. Shopping for a new home can be mentally exhausting, something you get so tired you can't think anymore. 11. Buying a house is a good investment. You can live in it now and sell it later. 12. In theory, it should only take 20 minutes to arrange my furniture, but I always take hours to think about where everything should go. Moving on to exercise D. Circle the correct answer, then explain more about your answer. So let's try to be brief. A or 1. Who is the intended audience for the article? The answer is A. People selling a home, and the article gives tips on how to sell a home. 2. People hire a professional home stager primarily to help them what? The answer is B. Organize and decorate a home. To make home buyers want to buy the staged home. 3. Look at the number list in paragraphs 6 to 9. A good subheading for this section of the article would be, the answer is B. 4 tips for successfully staging a home, because it's stated at the end of the because the bullets indicate examples of the tip. Organize what's left. 4. Paragraph 10 describes A. It's helpful to stage a vacant home, and it's stated at the end of the paragraph. 5. The purpose of paragraph 11 is to explain. The answer is C. To explain the benefits of staging, and home sellers may get more money for the home, and it usually takes less time to sell. Last question, 6. The author ends the article by saying he believes home staging is a good idea. Now Tina Miller hardly recognizes the place, and now she wants to stay there herself. Answer the following questions. Question 1. Who are the Millers? They are a family who want to sell their home. 2. Why are they selling their home? Mr. Miller got a job in another state, so they have to move and relocate. 3. What are some good points about the home, or some advantages or positives? Now, it's modern, on a quiet street within walking distance of shops and restaurants, with large rooms and lots of light. 4. What are some things that are wrong with the Miller's home, or the negatives? It feels wrong. There is too much clutter. The walls are too dark. And it feels like the miller's home, not the potential buyer's home. Question 5. What did the millers do to increase the chances of selling their home? They hired a home stager and followed her advice. Question 6. Were their efforts effective? Did they work? How do you know that? Yes, they were, because they have had 2 offers on their home. Two parties offered to buy the home. 7. Why do you think the author included the millers in this article? Now, the answer will vary. It should be along the lines of, for example, to make the article more interesting, or to help the reader understand what he was saying, and or to provide an example of a family who used a home stager, since they used a home stager to sell their home. Moving on. In exercise F, the article describes different home staging techniques. Complete the chart with the correct information. Now moving or skipping the example and moving to 2, remove personal items from the rooms, and the reason for that is to reduce clutter and help buyers imagine themselves in the home. In 3, it gives us a reason to make the rooms look bigger. So what can make rooms look bigger? Feature only a few pieces of furniture and pull the pieces away from the walls. 4, the technique is use white sheets in the bedroom. The reason is they make rooms appear spacious, bigger, and neat. In 5, it gives us a reason, makes rooms seem bright and happy. The technique for that is to open the drapes or remove them completely. In 6, the technique, paint walls a neutral color, and the reason for that is that dark colors can make a room seem smaller. The last technique, furnish some of the main rooms in an empty home, and the reason for that, it helps buyers imagine an empty space as a home and keeps buyers from seeing the negatives. Moving on. Vocabulary skill, collocations. Now, if we remember correctly, collocations are simply words that often occur together. While there are no rules to help you learn collocations or no grammar for them, it is important to pay attention to the patterns of words in a text. These patterns are clues that show you which words collocate. There are several common collocation patterns with nouns. For example, adjective plus noun. Does the store fit the shopper's personal style or not? Most people have a hard time, adjective noun, imagining a space as a potential home if it contains no furniture. Then there are collocations in the form of a verb plus noun or a noun phrase. Maybe in the past, shoppers had the time to really take a look at a window. The condo doesn't make a great first impression. Make a great first impression on potential buyers. Now, also collocations can come in the form of a preposition plus noun or noun phrase. Examples: everyone seems to be in a hurry, or in theory, the miller's home should have sold quickly. In theory. Now, in exercise A, circle the word that usually goes together with the noun in each sentence. You can look back at reading 1 or reading 2 to check your answers. So, 1. Social rules, not society. Social rules tell people what behavior is acceptable. 2. In the old days, no one researched how people shop. 3. There have been many changes to advertising in modern times. 4. A good advertisement should grab the shopper's attention. 5. The mover can only carry 2 boxes at a time. 6. We had a feeling that we weren't hearing the full story. 7. A book in the window caught his eye. So he went into the store. 8. The house was not attractive, so the buyers only took a quick look. 9. While some people take pleasure in shopping, many others hate it. 10. The latest computer technology has just come on the market. 11. Stores try to create a mood using displays and lighting. 12. Over time, the value of most homes will increase. 13. You can only take 2 personal items on a plane. 14. The salesperson gave advice in a way, the collocation is in a way that was helpful and practical. 15. Light color walls give the impression of a large living space. And last sentence, she is one of the best researchers in her field. Okay, that's it everybody. Thank you for listening and good luck to you all.